yeah. I love my HBCU, and boy, I love it, I love it, I love my HBCU, and man, I hope my team they won one, yeah. I hope my team they won one, yeah. Man, I hope my team they won one, I hope my team they won one, yeah. I tune into the HBCU Sports Lab to see if my team won or lost. If they lost, I'm quiet as a mouse, but if they won, keep tab. I'ma do the dab, yeah. Dr. Cavil, he know what he be talking about. Mike and Charles, they know what they be talking about. They compress the analytic data with this hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they won or lost, and who the ball, So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon'.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show streaming platform with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, but I got the coach. I got Coach Wilson in the house. It is a special occasion, and check what is going down now. I want to say welcome to episode 216 of Inside the HBCU Sports Lab radio show and podcast, the show that's covering the sporting HBCU dash for all things HBCU sports, from institutions large and small, from the NAIA to the NCAA. We share insights and information on the HBCU sports culture and HBCU athletic aesthetics to facilitate the story of HBCU athletic programs and the business of HBCU sports. I'm your host, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, along with my co-host, Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. We're filming from our home studios and sending a signal live, KSLH 1230 AM studios with the Texas Radio Hall of Famer Ralph Cooper in the beautiful home of Texas Southern University. Without further ado, I want to show my appreciation and acknowledgement to Coach Wilson. The Bowie State Bulldogs named Dr. Cavil's 2021 Mid-Major Division HBCU National Champions presented by SlurBurnWaco.com. This is their third consecutive title that I've provided under Coach Wilson in the third and 4 years. As you know, the 2020 HBCU Mid-Major season was canceled due to COVID-19. Best record in school history in 12-2 over making it to the NCAA Division II Playoffs regional championship. In the modern era, the two divisional HBCU championships since 2002, Bowie State Bulldogs now ranked second, tied with Albany State with 3 titles, just behind Tuskegee and Winston-Salem State with 4 titles. Without further ado, the Bulldogs earned the HBCU Mid-Major champion with a record of 12-2, 7-0, all 10 first place votes, 100 points. Give it up for Coach Wilson.
Congratulations, Coach.
I appreciate it, guys. This is big time, man. This is what it's all about. And man, this was a special year, and I had some special coordinators, and Coach Sewell and Coach Reed, and they'll call an offensive, defensive game plan or put a game plan together to give our guys to be successful. And I'm so thankful and honored just to receive these accolades on behalf of our program.
With that, Coach, before I let Charles ask the question, I did want to ask this. You know, as you've grinded through the business and come up to the ranks, could you imagine that you would be in this place? I know you think about it, but was it real to you?
That's a great question. What I've done the last couple of summers, I started to read some of the old articles of my first year coaching at Bowie State. And it's amazing that some of the things that I was saying to the reporters at that time has come full circle now. So, sometimes I got to pinch myself, but it's been a great run, and I'm truly blessed to have the opportunity to be the head coach at our university, at Bowie State University, and work with the guys I work with.
Man, we're so proud of you. Well deserved. Let me let Charles ask the follow-up question.
Yeah, congratulations again, Coach Wilson. And, one of the things that I'm always curious about is the elements that go into a national championship. And I'm always curious, was there a practice? Was there a game? But where was that moment this past season where you knew that this team was something special?
Well, it's really funny. It happened during the summertime. It happened in August. Our field was being redone, getting new turf laid down. And the dates, we got back behind track a little bit, some bad weather. And so we were catching a bus or buses to go over to a practice facility which may be about 10 minutes from campus. And when I noticed the guys didn't complain, didn't look for a way out, just got off the bus and worked really hard every day. We were at a team meeting one night in camp, and I said, guys, if we continue to be selfless versus selfish, we're going to have a very good team. And I think those guys brought into it. Those guys showed that no matter what hurdles would come their way, they were prepared to overcome them and just work together. And a lot of guys, it took a lot of guys to do that because we had a very talented team. So some guys, miss some plays or maybe not had the individual stats they may have wanted. But at the end of the day, we got the ultimate team goal.
Certainly. Again, this is Coach Wilson, the Bowie State Bulldogs. They were just named Dr. Bill's 2021 Mid-Major Division HBCU National Champions of the Year, presented by slowburnwaco.com. I'd be remiss if I didn't give you a chance. Any last words that you want to share with your fans, family, coaches, and players at this time?
Now, I just want to once again thank you guys for the acknowledgement. And like I said, I really appreciate and enjoy working with the coaches that I have on my staff and my student athletes, really getting it done on and off the football field. And to come back after the COVID year to accomplish what we did is very special to me. And this award really I hold near and dear to my heart. So I appreciate it, guys.
No problem. We'll have something come to you, something that all the coaches enjoy and something that will be able to help you put a little something in the program, not as much that we can, but it'll be something that hopefully it goes a long way because we certainly know this is well-deserved.
Thank you.
This is Dr. Bill inside the HBCU Sports Lab. We'll be right back after this quick break. Just wanted to highlight it and give you Coach Wilson as he accepts the honor of being 2021 Mid-Major Division HBCU National Champions, presented by slowburnwaco.com. Who would have thought it?
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food? Like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisine.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is Ryan Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
Press the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna loud, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
And welcome back in to Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab here on the Black College Sports Network. And if you're just tuning in, the Bowie State Bulldogs, Coach Damon Wilson, he joined us right at the top of the hour as he was just named Dr. Cavill's 2021 Mid-Major Division HBCU National Champion, presented by slowburnwaco.com. This is their third consecutive title under Coach Wilson, and their third in 4 years. Kudos to Coach Wilson and the Bowie State Bulldogs. Best record in school history at 12-2 over making it to the Division II regional playoffs as a champion in the modern era. The two divisional HBCU championships since 2002. Bowie State now ranks second behind Albany State with 3 titles. Albany State with 3 titles, and Tuskegee and Winston-Salem had 4 titles. Let's take a look now at some news and notes around HBCU. I tell you what, you can't say enough about the Texas Southern Tigers last night as they went in and shocked the Florida Gators. That was a huge win for Texas Southern when you take a look at it, a big win. And we're going to get into that a little bit later on in the show, where we'll talk with Coach Johnny Jones, head coach of the Texas Southern Tigers, as they went out and pulled off the shocker that in a lot of ways you saw the crawl on ESPN last night. Huge win for the Texas Southern Tigers program. Huge win for HBCUs. Huge win for the SWAC. Other news around HBCUs, of course, Eric Dooley, former head coach of the Prairie View A&M Panthers, he was named the head coach at Southern less than 48 hours after that tough loss to Jackson State. Coach Dooley decided to take his talents back to Louisiana. Southern University announced that Eric Dooley will become his next head coach. He fills the role that was vacated by Dawson Odoms when he left for Norfolk earlier this spring. Coach Jason Rollins, he served as the interim head coach during this past fall, where the Jaguars went 4-7. This comes after Dooley led Prairie View to a 7-4 regular season record, and he also claimed the SWAC Western Division title for the Prairie View A&M Panthers. Tremendous season for the Prairie View A&M Panthers to get to the SWAC Championship Western Division representatives. When you take a look at Coach Dooley's resume, New Orleans native, he has strong ties, of course, to the state of Louisiana and to Southern. He played his college ball at Grambling, interestingly enough, under legendary coach Eddie Robinson in the 1980s. But he has 2 degrees from the Southern University system, including a master's degree from the flagship campus. He spent 13 seasons in Baton Rouge as an assistant for another SWAC coaching legend, none other than the great Pete Richardson. From there, Coach Dooley went to Arkansas Pine Bluff as offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach, helping lead UAPB to a SWAC title in 2012. I remember that well because that SWAC title was over my Jackson State Tigers. He then took the job as offensive coordinator at Grambling, where he coached multiple SWAC Offensive Players of the Year in Jonathan Williams and Devontae Kincaid, as Grambling won back-to-back SWAC titles in 2016 and 2017. Of course, under Coach Dooley's guidance, in 2015, Grambling ranked 4th in the nation in scoring 41.3 points per game, 65 touchdowns, and they averaged 470 yards per game. Now, Dooley, he will look to rebuild this Southern program that will look to contend with a resurgent Prairie View team that was 7-4 and just played in the SWAC championship, as well as former SWAC champion Alcorn State, and of course their rival in Grambling. So kudos to Coach Eric Dooley in terms of getting this job over there to lead this Southern program back into prominence in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So those are some of the news and notes that were, of course, around HBCUs this past week. And of course, I have to mention Jackson State. They punched their ticket this past weekend in the SWAC championship to the Celebration Bowl for the first time in school history. As we welcome Doc back in, I tell you what, tickets are going fast for the Celebration Bowl.
Man, why you trying to be modest? They said it was sold out. What you talking about? Y'all can play around if you want to. They had to open up for the additional seats. I mean, you got a SWAC championship game that sells 50 plus. Now all of a sudden the Celebration is hot ticket. We're gonna sneak in an interview with somebody that's part of the big picture of why this all done. So we'll surprise you with that a little bit. But yeah, I'm excited. I get into town Wednesday. I need a break from all the other work you got to do, and then I'll be ready to watch what I think will be a great game. I'm sure in some people's imagination it will be a culmination of a great year. We'll see what that looks like. We'll get a chance to dig a little deeper in that. But yeah, it's hot right now. It's hot right now in terms of this news that's going on, and it just keeps plugging and chugging.
No doubt about it. I mean, that's what it's all about. It keeps plugging and chugging, like you said. Looking forward to getting over there to Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl. Jackson State, South Carolina State, both fan bases are doing a tremendous job of making sure their fan bases get those tickets, get those fannies in the seats. And of course, December 18th, ABC, 11 o'clock Central, 12 o'clock Eastern. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's take this break. We'll come back with our interview right after this break. We'll talk a little bit about Texas Southern dominates number 20 Florida, courtesy of HBCU Game Day. A lot of information out there. Surprise to some, but not surprise to others. But we'll get a chance to talk about that in the second half of the show. But we'll be right back after this quick break, and we'll come back with the second quarter.
Since 2002, Empowerment Resources, Inc., a nonprofit organization, has empowered more than 1,500 youth and adults in Duval and surrounding counties through its programs Journey into Womanhood, Girls Mentoring, Life Skills for Teens, and Parenting Education Coaching. To get involved with programs, volunteer, or donate, visit www.empowermentresourcesinc.org. Follow us on social media, facebook.com/empowerment.resources and instagram.com/empowermentjax.
Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique to spice up your closet with trendy, unique looks. We have fashionable and chic looks at very affordable prices. Velvet Boutique offers free shipping all year long on all orders. Shop online at www.melvetboutique.com. That's www.melvetboutique.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram. Shop Velvet Online Women's Boutique.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want to tab, I'ma do the dab, yeah. It's just the analytic data with the hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they wanna lose, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington's out on assignment. Charles is in the building. He's smiling. He has all his I Believe stuff on. He's taking all my cigars. My chest is all out. But we have none other than the SWAC Commissioner. So we're going to get a little break from Charles beating on his chest. We're going to get to talk to Charles, Dr. Charles McClelland, the Commissioner of the SWAC. We're going to do a little football year in review. I guess it's appropriate. We are coming up on the year end. Traditionally, though, when we talk about athletics, we think about this maybe being the midpoint academic year in a lot of ways. But it seems like a long time. It seems like a very busy year. So much is taking place. But without further ado, let me jump right in here. Charles, how you doing?
Doing very well. Thanks for having me on your show again.
No, it's a pleasure having you here. Let's talk about the SWAC. You opened it up back in July, talking about this is stacking up to a great year. I think it personally lived up to it, but how would you summarize this year?
A+. And not just this football season. You talked about the year. Think about it. We've had 2 football seasons this calendar year. I did an interview earlier and it talked about how great this season was, but it was really set up by a very successful spring season. So a lot of people got a taste in the spring, and with everybody playing in the fall, the addition of Family and Bethune-Cookman, it was one of those seasons where people thought would be historic. And then you fast forward to now, definitely historic. We're going to set a record for attendance. We're going to set a Celebration Bowl record. All of the lower bowl seats have already sold, so that has never happened. So they haven't opened up the second level, and it's week and a half away. Host hotel is sold out. It's overbooked. We record number in the championship game. set a record there, extended television, extended sponsorship. So, hats off to the coaches, hats off to the administrators, the presidents and chancellors, believing in the vision, following the vision, establishing the vision. SWAC's pretty hot right now. I'm pleased, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil. It's rolling pretty good right now.
You should, and you're not a person that like jumps out there in a lot of ways. You're very modest for whatever reason, but this is a time to kind of strut the peacock, if you would. And so, if you won't do it, we'll kind of do it from this perspective and acknowledging what we see from our perspective, and then you could at least chime in and redirect us in whatever way you want to go. But with that said, we did talk about football in a year, and that gets a lot of the phenomenon and a lot of out there. But you also had a successful soccer season that culminated with the championship with Prairie View A&M's women's program crowning themselves. But the matches to get there, that went into penalty kicks. And anybody that watches soccer understands just how heightened it gets. One, to get into the sudden goal overtime, and then to get it played out in a penalty kick. And it happened to be the home team getting it done. And the fans rushed the field, or as they say down there, the pitch in that case. So that was wonderful. Then you get a volleyball matchup with the final four teams setting up semifinals that goes these extra matches, and they're just thunderous. You have the championship game between the number one team and the number two team, played on each other's home court, took a match from each other, and it goes to the fifth set, and it's broadcast on television. And you could feel, I'm not necessarily the biggest volleyball person out there. I didn't have a stake per se, if you say an institution that happens to be my alma mater, but I have a stake certainly being a SWAC fan, and I was all in. I was riveted in terms of the action. So I would ask you to bring those in there and just talk about how important is to have all the sports, at least at this fall and the fall part, really coming up to it. And I didn't even get into cross country.
But, we talked about it. We talked about the overall level of competitiveness. The thing that probably strikes me more than what most would even think about is sitting through those games. And it's not so much the thrill of handing out the trophy to the winner, but looking those young ladies in the eyes that did win, seeing that pain, that sorrow. As an athletics director, I would always rather get beat by 40 than lose at, penalty kicks or, the fifth set by 2 or, a last second shot. But it just goes to the overall level of competitiveness. And I don't want to diminish volleyball and soccer, but just think about football. Think about what Mississippi Valley State did this year. As everybody talked about, this weekend is week out, it's every sport. It's cross country, it's volleyball, it's going to be basketball, it's going to be baseball, it's going to be softball. And, in the sport of baseball and softball, we did not, by virtue of votes of the administrators, expand the tournament. So it's just going to be 8. It's going to be 8 for basketball. It's going to be 8 for baseball. It's going to be 8 for softball. So can you imagine, the level of competitiveness? But that's what we wanted within the Southwestern Athletic Conference. We wanted to be the best. And I think it's proven to be, shown that from a competitive standpoint, if you want to enter this Black college arena at the highest level, you got to start with the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So hats off again to our student athletes. That's where we want to be. You looked at Lincoln Riley with Oklahoma. He decided to go to the Pac-12. You can say what you want to say. He went to the Pac-12 because he was going to the SEC. There's some coaches in the SWAC do the same at Charles Bishop. So, when have you seen coaches not make it through the end of the SWAC season? I've never seen that in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. So the stakes are high, the dollars are high. Look at what Jackson State did from a revenue standpoint and hosting the SWAC championship. So it's competitive across the board, and there are going to be unintended consequences, pressure is going to be one of those consequences that all institutions are going to have to realize. But it's good for us. It's good for competition. And if you are the best, this is where you're supposed to be.
Ooh, I like that plug. One more jump in there before I pass it. When you talk about just yesterday, before you can even close out on your SWAC championship, now all of a sudden you get one of your SWAC members, Texas Southern University, defeat, as you talk about, mighty SEC, a top 20 ranked team that hasn't been done in the SWAC previously in terms of defeating a ranked SEC team. We've done a couple of the other conferences before, but not only that, at least in my estimation, I've seen more Division I wins by multiple teams in the conference. Some of them already have 2 Division I wins. The fact that the conference has played other HBCUs, and I believe the record is 4-1 in those matchups. Last one coming to Norfolk State, it is vaunted 10-2 at this point in terms of what they get done. But you got your wins over Tennessee State, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, over North Carolina Central, MEAC team that's a traditional power, winning that conferences over the years. Obviously, Grambling defeating Morgan State, team that expected the challenge for the MEAC championship. And then obviously the other Division I wins. Is that also what you're speaking about for people's expectation of what may come this basketball season? That's obviously on the men's side, but the women are doing the same thing as well, with Jackson State in a lot of ways leading the way.
Absolutely. And that's part of the plan. We want our institutions to get better. You talked about, Texas Southern, a huge win. Texas Southern always gets a win or two on a top-ranked team. But look at what Jackson State has done. Jackson State has put together a solid non-conference season. Bethune-Cookman, a big Division I win. Alabama A&M, has proven to be solid in non-conference play. Florida A&M is going to have a good team. And again, when you start talking about basketball is going to be extremely, extremely competitive.
Ooh, I believe
this year.
Yeah,
It's been that squarely across the board in every sport. And that's what we talked about. The overall level has increased. And again, not to continue to go back to football, but Florida A&M got an at-large bid because they deserved it. And they deserved it because of the schedule that they played and the games that they won. But I think it clearly states that the Southwestern Athletic Conference has gained respect, and it's continuing to earn additional levels of respect. Why would the Pac-12 come to the Southwestern Athletic Conference and say, we want all 12 institutions to come? Because of that level of respect. If it was 10, 15 years ago, a loss to a SWAC school probably would be something that they could not overcome. It doesn't hurt you as much now, based upon the matrix, based upon who you play. Florida lost to Texas Southern. They probably drop in the rankings, but they're not going to drop that far because of the overall level of competitiveness of Texas Southern and what SWAC brings. And when you bring that type of legitimacy to the table, you get at-large bids in football. You get better seeds in basketball. You get better seeds in baseball and softball. And that's what we're striving for, and that's where we're going.
Great point. Charles, let me let you jump in here and ask a follow-up question.
Yeah, Dr. McClelland, I had a very interesting, candid conversation with a couple of administrators from within the conference, and they marveled at how far this conference has come since you took over. Have you had an opportunity to just really step back and just kind of take a look at the growth of this conference from the time you've taken over, and to kind of take a look at that SWAC championship, the football atmosphere? Dr. Cavil touched on the other championships as well, but just to really kind of take it all in and take in the breadth of it all.
I have, Charles, and it's a part of the plan. It's expected, it's required, but it's not me. We could not do any of this if we did not have all 12 of our institutions on the same page. And I can honestly say all 12 are on the same page. If we had one or two that was pulling against the grain, we would not be able to do what we've done. And, when you start looking at decisions that are made within the Southwestern Athletic Conference, we made an effort for it to be a cohesive decision, not a Charles McClelland decision or not a staff decision, but we include the ADs and SWAs. We include the presidents. So when you talk about a vision, it's a unified vision. And when everybody has an opportunity to buy into it, have input in it, and have the ability to mold it, then you yield the type of results that we are yielding. So yes, I've had an opportunity to look at it's a part of the plan, but we still have so far to go. I know Dr. Cavil always talks about, not, boasting. My mother told me when I was athletics director at Texas Southern that she was fearful of me being athletic director because she thought that, the people and the success and quite frankly, the lack of success would negatively impact me. And my promise to her was that I would never get too high, I'll never get too low, I just work hard. So the credit truly goes to those individuals that are implementing the vision and the strategy. So it's not just the SWAC, it's not just me, it's everybody that's involved, including you guys, right? It's a holistic effort to move this conference forward. I've seen a lot of bootleggers on the internet. I've seen a lot of people streaming our games illegally. I've seen a lot of people pop up that have these talk shows with a lot of followers. There was few of you that was with us from day one. People are on us now. We understand it. But I think that's the biggest thing that I have garnered, surprise from. How many people now are on the SWAC train? And, there's a lot of experts out there right now, but very few of you they can go to get legitimate, true, accurate information. So, but that's good too. That tells you that you're hot. When we wake up on Monday mornings and we get calls from fans about officiating, that's a good thing. Not necessarily because of the complaints about officiating, right. But before we didn't get them because the interest wasn't necessarily there. So all of those things are extremely positive signs that we're moving forward. They're anticipated, they're expected, and we're going to continue to grow and we're going to continue to get better.
Charles, Bishop, you have another follow-up question on that?
Well, the one follow-up question, and I think you touched on it earlier. This was such a unique turnaround with regards to football. We played a spring season and we went into the fall. Were there any unanticipated challenges or obstacles that the conference as a whole had to overcome as we move toward media day and toward this fall season?
Yes, too many to name, Charles. But again, I go back to the administrators on the campus ensuring that their student athletes receive their COVID shots. Ensuring that the COVID plan that we instituted was followed, because quite frankly, this fall, a lot of it fell upon the shoulders of the member institutions. I guess all of it always falls on the shoulders of the institution, but we didn't require them to send in the forms. We didn't double check to make sure, and they did everything according to the guidelines. The fans, my goodness, we knew that they were going to be excited, having been cramped up in the house for the spring and last fall. Man, did they come out in droves. You look at sellouts at FAMU's homecoming. You look at sellouts at Jackson State. Who sells out a 60,000 seat stadium in the SWAC? Well, Jackson State does. You look at the sellout at Alabama A&M. We had sellouts across the board. We're going to smash the attendance records this year. So, wow, it's just a good time. I go back to when we talked about 3 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, everybody asked the question about, are you going to try to bring in new members? Are you going to try to bring in new members? And I said, no. But what we're trying to prepare ourselves for is when that time comes, we're proactive, not reactive. And you fast forward, who would have thought that the Southwestern Athletic Conference would be one of the stronger standing conferences in all of these reorganizations of these conferences, right? And again, it was a cohesive effort from all of our institutions. And I'm just lucky to be the leader right now. I don't know if it's because I had this magical plan or or the plan where I got a chance to watch the movie King Richard with Serena and Venus. You know, I wrote a plan, but I'm not quite sure if it was like King Richard. And I don't know if I was good enough to stick with the plan like King Richard. But it's always good to have a plan, but it's always good to have some blessings. We've definitely been blessed.
This is Dr. Cavil inside HBCU Sports Lab. We're here interviewing Dr. Charles McClelland on a football year in review that included some of the fall sports as well. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break. Ask a couple of follow-up questions, and we'll let the commissioner get on his way. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this break.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Carlos Brown, letting you know that we're on the move. You can now catch the Carlos Brown Show beginning this July on the Black College Sports Network each and every Saturday from 11 to 1 Eastern Time. That's 10 to 12 Central Time. Same time, new place. On Facebook at the Carlos Brown Show and Black College Sports Network. Online at www.mybcsn.net and on the BCSN app available on Google Play and the Apple App Store.
Compress the analytic data with your hip hop. If you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. We're interviewing the SWAC Commissioner, Dr. Charles McClelland, giving us a little update of what's going on in SWAC after a great fall season, which included the culmination of the SWAC championship game that had the highest attendance since 1999, since it began, with over 50,000 people watching a great matchup between Jackson State and Prairie View, with Jackson State coming out and earning the bid to the Celebration Bowl, which will feature Jackson State and South Carolina State in that matchup. Two new teams that haven't been there since the start of the event. With that being said, I wanted to ask a little bit about sponsorships. You know, what does that look like? Essentially, really, how does attendance tie into that? We talked about smashing an overall attendance record, talked about more television broadcasts. You know, where is that going? What does that look like? And how potentially does attendance look into that? And the second part of that question may be attendance part of it too. One of the individuals out here, one of our listeners, talked about, I know we've had great success with the games on the home team site. Is it possible that they might go back to a neutral site event? And if so, what does that look like and why?
Well, first question is attendance is directly related, but it's not just attendance in the stands. It's viewership. So let's talk about attendance in the stands. Who wants to cut on a SWAC championship game? There's 25 people in the stands, right? If you had opportunity to go to Alcorn the previous 2 years in Jackson, you'll realize that it's a different level of intensity than what you even experienced during regular season. Playoff ball brings a different level of, excitement and intensity. Yeah. And when you have that many people in the stands, whether you're a SWAC fan or not, you're going to keep the television on, right? The Alabama Georgia game was a blowout, so you start changing the channel and you start looking at SWAC games. They recognize that. Most people that did not attend the game watched the game, and the first commercial out was the Pepsi commercial. And you saw a FAMU Jackson State band commercial. That was a derivative of our deal with Pepsi. Why would Pepsi put that much money in a commercial? Wow. Why would they pay for it to be on TV and continue to pay for it to be on other shows other than SWAC events? It's because it was significant. It drives sales and it brings cultural awareness. So they look at all of those numbers. They look at all of those metrics. I know Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, you have all of these numbers, but when you go back and you look at what our ratings were, even in week one, when FAMU played Jackson State, we were almost at 1 million viewers. We were, like top 7, top 8. Grambling State, Tennessee State, again, they had almost 1 million views, and you go on and on. So when you're getting these types of numbers, that's what sponsors are looking for. And we've had a very good year when it comes to people being interested in entities and corporations being interested in the Southwestern Athletic Conference. I'm going to give you an indication of when I keep using that word hot. When you're watching ESPN Plus and you see a local commercial, you know we're hot. So we had several of those where they can sell in the local market. I'm sitting at home in Birmingham and I see a commercial from Birmingham that knows nothing about the SWAC. That means a lot of people are watching our events, a lot of people. So people talk about linear versus digital. I'm not a linear expert, but I would bet, I can almost assure you, in the next 10 or 15 years, linear is going to be the predominant way that we're going to watch television. Cable is going to be gone. When you watch sports, when you watch your favorite shows, it's going to be on these streaming and digital networks, and you're starting to see sports go that way. The numbers are excessive, and the viewerships are just as good. And the consumers are pushing us towards that era. But we still want linear because there are a massive amount of numbers, and linear isn't going away, so we have to have a good mixture of both. Our sponsors have seen it, they recognize it, and that is the reason why we have major corporate sponsors. We don't have to announce how much our deals are, Charles. But when people see General Motors, they know General Motors just don't sponsor anybody, right? When they see Pepsi Cola, they know Pepsi Cola just doesn't sponsor anybody. When they see Cricket Wireless, they know that these are major corporations that are backing the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and they're doing it for a reason. And it's not because they're touchy-feely. They're doing it because we have a great product, and they are able to market to consumers that they're trying to get to, and that's educated African Americans and minorities, Caucasians, and the like. All are part of our viewership and all are part of our membership. To answer the question about whether or not we would move it from campus to a central location, we just finished up our Council of Presidents and Chancellors meeting today, and that topic was broached. And I can tell you overwhelmingly, everybody likes it on campus. So there are no discussions about moving it to a third-party site. Again, it goes back to the energy, but it also goes back to the economic driver, not only for the institution, but for the city. A lot has been made about the $30 million that Jackson State Games have brought to the city of Jackson, $3 million this weekend. That allows Jackson State to go get money from the chamber, from the city, from the county, from sponsors. So there's a lot of indirect revenue that goes to the institutions by having these championship games on campus. And when I say indirect, they're creating these relationships where they get money from the city, get money from the county, get money from the additional sponsors, get money from corporations, get in-kind things. So there's a lot that drives this. And my fear, you didn't ask this question, Charles, or the person that put it in the chat, but my fear is now that we're growing into a larger entity with a lot of interest. We're going to have to continue to rethink how we do business. We're not going to be able to do business the same way that we did business yesterday, tomorrow. We're going to have to continue to evolve because the stakes are starting to get very, very high. They're starting to get very, very high.
Makes sense. Charles Bishop, Professor Bishop, one follow-up question and we'll let Charles go.
Well, I think you touched on it. What I actually was going to ask about was you touched on the future of television. People are cutting cords, and one of the debates that you always have within these chat rooms or on these SWAC message boards is, games being on ESPN Plus, being on the digital streaming side. But you touched on why that's important. Advertisers, sponsors see that as well.
Well, I didn't get any complaints this year being on ESPN Plus. As a matter of fact, I got more compliments to say, hey, we watched more SWAC football this year than we ever have.
Yeah, I know I have.
My 82-year-old father has a smart TV in the living room And in the back room, he has ESPN Plus, and he was going back and forth watching 2 games at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So that's where we're going. But we don't underestimate the power of linear television. We have so much more to do, but we want them both. We want them both. The Big 12 has the majority of their deal with ESPN is on ESPN Plus, right? The SEC does it. But we think that there's a good middle ground on both. So we're going to continue to get linear games. But in the next 10 to 15 years, you're going to get the majority of your television is going to come from streaming. It's not going to be linear. And it's already started. It's only going to get worse. So we want to keep up with the times. We want to make sure, again, we're on the cutting edge of it. But our plan of not putting games on the SWAC Digital Network worked out for us. We delivered quality games. The same production company that ESPN uses, we use. And as we've delivered those quality games to ESPN, we've got more. We had those games on NBA TV. We're working on another package this year with NBA TV for some of our basketball games. And we're working on some additional linear television coverage. You know, I've been very vocal about wanting to get our rights back. We're working on that process. We're going to have more games on linear. We have a lot more flexibility in doing that. And we have, again, some more work to do. But our success has given us the opportunity to go in and talk to our partners to say, let's expand, let's grow. And because the numbers have been good, we've been given those green lights.
Great information, and thank you for your time and the extended time that you've given us. Look forward to seeing you in Atlanta.
Yeah, let me say this, though, before I'm going to cut you off. Let me say this before you let me go. Back to Charles' question about digital. Let's talk about what the future looks for from a SWAC's perspective, at least in that digital space. We are working on a plan to get artificial intelligent cameras at all of our arenas. So you don't need a cameraman. These cameras will pick up the ball. It'll pick up who has it. It'll pick up names. It picks up stats. And as it records more, it learns. And we can produce an entire game in high definition without a cameraman, plug and play. We're working on getting those in all of our arenas and all of our stadiums. So there will be a point in time where you will be able to see every SWAC event on TV or digital. But we're not going to give it away, Charles. Somebody's going to have to pay for it, right?
Yes, sir.
Be patient. Be patient. So we had the capability of doing it, but we have to find partners that's going to want to pay us. Because once they pay, that's money to the schools. And once we get to those 7-figure payouts to the schools, now you're talking about really making an impact and really doing the things that we're supposed to do to be competitive at a high level. So we just don't have our eyes set on FCS. We have our eyes set on being the best period.
No doubt about it. That's the commissioner, SWAC Commissioner, Dr. Charles McClelland. Appreciate your valuable time. Look forward to seeing you next week in Atlanta for the Celebration Bowl. I know you'll be fixed assets as you would like to see the season culminate with the SWAC winning and bringing home a trophy in terms of the Celebration Bowl. It'll be fascinating to see, can they get back over the hump. Talk to you then, and appreciate your time. Look forward to seeing you in Atlanta.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you.
This is Dr. Cavil inside HBCU Sports Lab with our interview with the SWAC Commissioner, Dr. Charles McClelland. We'll be right back after this quick break.
For 200 years, Montgomery, Alabama has been making history by people who had the courage to stand up for change. Today, this riverfront city has been reborn, embracing the past and looking forward to the future. From the National Memorial for Peace and Justice to the stage of the Alabama Shakespeare Festival, this is where history was and is made. We are proud to call Montgomery home, and together, we can be the change.
Sugar Chateau Desserts is a specialty bakery located in the Charlotte, North Carolina metro area. We will create delicious and one-of-a-kind treats for any occasion. Sugar Chateau is currently shipping cakes in a jar, offering a variety of different flavors in a single-serve container that can help you celebrate in accordance with social distancing. Place your orders today by calling 803-526-7895 or visiting sugarchateaudesserts.com.
Are you hungry for authentic Caribbean food like jerk chicken, oxtail, red snapper, shrimp, tofu, and rasta pasta? Well, find your way over to Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta.
Them belly full, but we hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, open daily from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. And on Friday and Saturday, we're open till 4 a.m. Come to Mango's and put some spice in your life.
So we've got a good thing going.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, 180 Auburn Avenue, right next to Royal Peacock in downtown Atlanta. For more info or directions, call 404-698-3992 or log on to mangoscaribbeanrestaurant.com. For instant coupons, text MANGOS to 313131.
Tell your mama hungry, papa hungry, brother hungry.
Mango's Caribbean Restaurant, authentic Caribbean cuisines.
Open up the door, tell your mama hungry.
This is Brian Fulford. AD Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Lab. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Lab, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show. From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service with Slow Burn. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge featuring a meticulous curated collection of premium cigars. It's more than a mobile lounge. It's an environment and an experience rich in history, luxury, and personality. An elegant extension of any celebration occasion. It's the perfect escape and meeting place, a space where you can relax or enjoy a shared passion. Have Slow Burn plan your next big event, or before you are planning to celebrate your win over your athletic rival, you can shop our collections at www.slowburnwaco.com.
But if they want the analytic data with your hip hop, if you know them like I know them, they gon' tell you if your team, if they want a lot, and who the ball. So listen to Professor, yes sir, and pay attention, cause he gon' teach a lesson.
This is Dr. Cavil. This is Dr. Cavil with Inside HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington, Charles Bishop. Mike Washington is out on assignment, but we have none other than Coach Johnny Jones of the Texas Southern Tigers, head men's basketball coach, coming off some great firsts for the university. And this is a Texas Southern program that has quite a bit of history. So when you do first around here, you're doing some great things. Went furthest HBCU program has done in the modern era since the 70 Division I in the CIT, tying Hampton going to the semifinals in that, then going to the tournament last year, NCAA winning first round, game, and then coming back this year and finding another way to raise the bar, getting a win over a top 20 team over the University of Florida Gators. How are you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. Really a long day today, but one that we're really excited about, because sometime when you travel and after setback, it's a little crazy. But after a victory like that and being on the plane and people asking the players, where are you guys from? And they tell them, did you play last night? And they tell them yes. So who did you play? University of Florida. How'd you guys do? And when they say we won, you know, it's a different look on the face. Yeah. You get enjoyment out of that, and then the people are really great and have been great, and our kids have been wonderful. But the travel's been good, and I think our guys have done a tremendous job of growing as a basketball team this early part of the season.
Well, when you get in that game, you're playing right with them. Florida does have the lead early, but certainly about the midway, if you would, through basically the first half, Texas Southern took the lead and never looked back and just really increased the lead. Other than some late turnovers, it could have been even more damaging than what the score looked. But if you would, tell us a little bit about when you're coaching and you see your team getting it, the things that you practice and getting it, and especially at such a high level against a ranked team. How do you stay in the moment with your team?
Well, I tell you, the good thing about these guys, they're willing to learn. And they've got good basketball IQs, and they understand it. And they've really understand the importance of each game that we're playing against this high caliber competition. Sometimes we're exposed in some of the flaws or whatever that we may have had. They obviously or exploited because of the fact that the way the teams attack. And it's our job to make sure that we go out and do a tremendous job of pointing those things out, and let's get better. If it's transition defense, if it's rebounding, whatever those things are, let's get better at it and make sure the next time that we play, that's not what we're sitting here at practice talking about. We've got to continue to improve upon. So with those things outside of Louisiana Tech game, I thought our guys continued to improve and continue to get better. Last night, I thought through the combination of everything that we've talked about, those guys did a great job of putting it together. Second effort, transition defense, rebounding the basketball, defending with high hands, executing at a high level, making the extra passes. And when you do those things on a consistent basis, I thought our guys were able to see the success that we were having. They fed off of that. And our bench was, we didn't have a great deal of fans. We had a few fans there, but our bench was so into the game last night that we played in like 4 or 5 minute segments. Anytime we came to a timeout, we wanted to make sure that we won that timeout going back out on the floor, that we either got to stop, or if we had the ball, we wanted to try and execute at a high level. And throughout that game, those things happened in a positive way for us.
Oh, I love it. Charles Bishop, please follow up with a question.
Yeah, Coach, I wanted to get in a little bit on the statistics part of it, because one of the things that jumped out for me with regards to this game was the points in the paint and the way you guys out-rebounded Florida. Talk a little bit about you guys, especially on the inside, and how they were able to get it done versus, what we traditionally see are bigger front lines.
Well, they have a real big guy inside, 6'11", 7-footer guy's projected to be a pro. Actually put his name in the draft last year. And we wanted to make sure that we did a great job of challenging and at least going at him at a high level. We think we have post guys that got a great deal of confidence in our post guys, the guys that are really down there grinding for us there in the paint. And so last night, I thought they did an excellent job of stabilizing him. And then we rebounded the basketball exceptionally well. We had, I think, 40-something rebounds to their 26. And not only that, we had 14, I think, offensive rebounds. Those are other scoring opportunities. Those are second chance points.
Yeah.
Those are paint points or whatever for us. And our guys did a great job. I think we had a couple right there, especially late in the basketball game when Bryson Grisham got an offensive rebound off of a missed free throw. then another one off a rebound, good putback right there at point blank range in terms of the basket. So we put a lot of pressure on people when we take shots. We shot the ball extremely well last night in the 50s, finally shot in the 40s from the 3-point line. Then you give yourself some second chance opportunities with some rebound paint touches like that. Some special things can happen for you.
Talk a little bit about. I was going to follow up. Just talk a little bit about the growth of John Walker coming into the season, Jordan Carl Nicholas, some guys that we saw last year. And then PJ Henry is a new name that I didn't see last year, but they all tremendous contributions last night in this game against Florida.
Absolutely. You had Walker had the 15, 16 points. He had 7, I think, assists, 7 rebounds last night. That's huge. 7 assists from you guys, 6'9", 6'10". Power forward, making those type plays and passes for us last night and on the perimeter making shots. John came to us from Texas A&M. He had some injuries. He was needing to possibly put on a little bit more weight, get a little bit stronger. Really was dedicated in the weight room. Unfortunately, COVID kept him out of the weight room a year ago during the summer. That wasn't the case this past summer. He worked extremely hard. He's gotten bigger. He's gotten stronger, put on some weight. It's given him more confidence as well, and he's played that way. He's really been a great leader for us. Carl Nicholas last year was one of the what I'd like to call a workhorse for us, an energy guy, plays extremely hard, toughness, great defender, inside rebound. The basketball and has really developed a knack around the basket with his ability to score, and that's been a big help for us. And PJ Henry has just been lights out for us. And I think if I had to say someone who was the biggest surprise that we've had this early part of the season, I'd have to say it's PJ Henry, his play. Although we knew coming in that he was a good player, he played 32 minutes last year in the NCAA tournament against Baylor when he was at Hartford. But coming into our team, learning our guys and really becoming the quarterback on our basketball team, he's really emerged really as a special player for us because his ability with his ball handling skills can assist. He creates opportunities for his teammates first, but at the same time, he can really score the basketball and he can defend. He's a good on-ball defender as well. So he's really, really a solid player that we're fortunate that we're able to get during this transfer period last year. And he's going to, I think, make a huge impact on our basketball team this year.
Awesome.
Yes, double-double, Bryson Grisham in terms of 13 rebounds. In terms of what he did, well, I should say 10 defensive rebounds and 3 offensive rebounds, but he had a big game when you talk about that. Any other players that kind of stood out there before we let you go?
Well, the big thing about Bryson Grisham, he's a grown man. I mean, he's a guy, I got a call today, and it's funny, you win these games. And so John Calipari called me from University of Kentucky, and I want to congratulate and say you guys obviously did a good job last night trying to figure out what we had done with the big guy inside and telling him that, we've got a guy, Bryson Grisham, who started for University of Houston a year ago on a Final Four team. That started 19 games, playing 17 minutes a game. So that's what he's able to bring to the table. He's such a force or whatever out there that's playing for us. But I think we've had a pretty good balance with this team. We've got a combination of guys that I think that's going to continue to grow, allow us to continue to be a very good basketball team as the season continues to progress. So those are the type of things that give me reason as a coach to really be excited because of the number of things that I think that we can do. If we want to go with a big team in zone, if we want to go with a big team and switch defensively, if we want to go with our speed, there are so many things that we're capable of doing with scores on the floor with these guys as grasping. And you're talking about a combination of guys that came back from a year ago, but the new guys we've gotten, Bryson Grisham, and you talk about PJ Henry. Unfortunately, AJ Lawson wasn't able to play, a little injured. Looking forward to getting him back. A special group of guys that I think that can do a lot of things. And we haven't even talked about Yahuza Rossius, who wasn't with us last night because of some personal things going with him. But I really, really have reason to be excited about this basketball team.
No doubt about it. Last question I have for, and I promise we'll let you know. I know you're tired and getting.
Oh no, I'm good to go. So
all right, appreciate you sticking with us. I did want to get into it. A lot of the talk obviously is about football and expansion on this side, first one up in a lot of ways. But now we're getting ready for that hardwood in terms of conference play. A couple of more non-conference games. You get into the conference matchup, and you have the expansion. You got the Florida teams, obviously coming through the SEC as you've done, familiar as you understand this larger footprint, this larger conference. And so what are your thoughts in terms of what this means to the SWAC, particularly on the basketball side of things, of expansion, particularly going into the Florida market? What are your thoughts going into this conference season?
I tell you, it's amazing what Dr. McClelland has been able to do with their conference. You look around the country when other conferences are losing teams and trying to figure it out, we're gaining teams from other conferences, not only gaining teams, but getting their top teams from their conference that's going to really come in and enhance what we already have in the SWAC, from the basketball to football to the band, you name it. So remarkable job going out and identifying that. But I think our league is not only good just bringing those guys in, but the teams that were in the league last year with the returning players did a tremendous job in terms of recruiting. Our league is going to be bigger, better, and stronger this year than it was a year ago. I think you can look around and see what Jackson State has done early on. They've beaten really good teams. Illinois State, big win. They went into Louisiana Lafayette and beat the University of Louisiana. Big win. Kentucky's on playing, I think, Southern right now. And Southern has had a good first half against those guys. But you can go down the list with Prairie View, obviously going to be very good again this year. And so we've got an exciting league. And you can go down the line. And I can assure you, Florida A&M is a very solid basketball team that's been very good in their league, and they've got all tournament, conference high first team conference caliber players on that team. So our fans are going to have something to really be excited about when those teams hit the floor this year, because of the growth of each one of the teams that's in our league right now.
Man, I appreciate you breaking down and sharing that, man. Yeah, you got me excited. Closing out football, getting to this basketball, it just gets better. Last thing is, I'll turn the floor over to you. Anything we didn't ask you, anything you want to share with your fans, with the SWAC in general, HBCU sports, and the overall program, anything you want to share that we didn't ask you?
We're just getting our fans ready for January 8th when we get home. We've been on the road. We'll be on the road 13 straight games. And when we come home, we certainly need that support behind us and that fan base, and people there in the seats ready to cheer the Tigers on. And it's going to be a great conference run. It's going to be a great battle. There are no nights that you're going to have an opportunity to be able to take off. There are no easy nights in this conference race. And so we're hoping that we get our fan base behind us, and that's what we're really excited about.
Oh, we'll be there. We promise you that. We'll be in the HPE arena. We're going to check it out. We know the Tigers are going to be hot. They're going to give it everything, and you're going to get exciting brand of basketball. So if you're in the greater Houston, whether you're coming through or you live here, I promise you, you need to get over to the H&P arena to see what Coach Johnny Jones has going on with the basketball program. He always has it good, but now you see he's loaded for bear. He plans to bring some 05. So if you have the time, get it done. Get over there.
Coach, I did want to say, too,
going down.
I did want to say today real quick, too, Coach Sampson called. He said, obviously, because of our proximity and the relationship he's got and we have, and at the same time with Bryson Grisham been over here, they were about to play last night. And he said he was watching the end of our game. He said he was 5 minutes late getting in to talk to his team to get them their pregame. So he said, Coach, you got to come in. He said, no, man. He said, I got to finish watching these Tigers finish this thing off. So that's exciting.
Oh, I love it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing those nuggets. With that, we won't hold you up. We appreciate it. That's Dr. Cavil inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Mike Washington, Charles Bishop interviewing the head men's basketball coach, Texas Southern Tigers, Coach Johnny Jones, getting it done with the big win over, yes, you heard it, the Florida Gators, 20th ranked Florida Gators, 69-54, but there's more to come. So get into this conference play. He let you know it's going to be an exciting season. A lot of programs have gotten better. but so have the Tigers. Look out. With that being said, that'll do it for us today on the show. Just want to say thank you for joining us on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Thank you for listening. Make sure you join our podcast and streaming platforms. I am Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, the Dean of HBCU Sports, coming from inside the lab in the College of HBCU Sports with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Again, we want to thank you for listening to Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 o'clock. We look forward to the next week as we discuss the latest news in the lab. Follow me, Dr. Kenyatta Cavil, on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab 1 on Twitter. Inside the HBCU Sports Lab on YouTube and Facebook. Make sure you like and subscribe. We're going to tease you with a quiz here, Coach John. Coach Jones. Don't get mad if you get it wrong, but we bring them all in. You stayed on, so we got you. We're going to tease you. Dream big and continue to move forward. We will talk with you soon. Charles.
Of course.
Coach Joe.
Yes, sir.
Election. Say election.
Election.
Dismiss. Election.